Ever wondered if modern marriages have turned into extended friend zones for many husbands? A provocative question, isn't it? But it's one that has been gaining momentum in the currents of contemporary social discourse. So, let's dive into it, shall we? You see, there's a phenomenon we've observed where some women, after tying the knot, cease to view their husbands as romantic partners. Instead, they begin to see them more as friends, or even worse, as mere providers of comfort and security. It's as if the sacred vows exchanged at the altar have been reduced to the equivalent of a friend zone contract. This may sound shocking, but it's a reality that many men grapple with in silence. It's like being stuck in a relationship limbo, where the person you've pledged your life to has emotionally checked out, leaving you in a state of perpetual uncertainty. What could possibly lead to such a situation? Well, the answers are as complex as the human psyche itself. Some attribute it to the societal pressures that women face, prompting them to seek stability over passion. Others point to the psychological aspect, suggesting that past hurtful experiences with other partners may influence a woman's decision to keep her husband at arm's length. This brings us to the concept of the carousel break. It's a term that's been buzzing around, signifying a pause in a woman's romantic adventures. After a series of tumultuous relationships often characterized by emotional highs and lows, some women opt for a more stable, less emotionally intense relationship. In other words, they choose the nice guy over the bad boy. Unfortunately, the nice guy often ends up being the husband who is friend-zoned within his own marriage. The romantic spark that once ignited their relationship is gradually replaced by a comfortable, yet passionless, companionship. The husband, once a lover, becomes a friend. And with the diminishing intimacy, what happens to the other aspects of the marriage? This is a question we need to ponder seriously as we navigate the intricate web of modern relationships. So, stick around as we delve deeper into this issue in our next segment. Intimacy, a crucial element in a relationship, might be dwindling in many modern marriages. But why? When we delve into the dynamics of modern relationships, we often find a pattern. The initial stages of courtship and marriage are usually filled with passion and desire. However, as time goes on, the frequency and quality of intimacy often take a back seat. It's not uncommon to see marriages that were once fueled by intense passion gradually turn into sexless unions. Why does this happen? One of the key reasons could be the strategic use of intimacy as a bargaining chip. During the early stages of a relationship, intimacy is often used as a means to an end, to secure commitment, to get married, or to have a child. It's almost as if sex is traded for these milestones. But once these goals are achieved, the importance and frequency of sex might start to dwindle. It's not that the desire for intimacy completely disappears. Instead, it might be redirected elsewhere. Some women might still crave the thrill of an encounter with an ex-lover, or the excitement of a forbidden flirtation. Others might find solace in the use of toys, which can provide physical satisfaction without the need for emotional investment. Consequently, the husband, who was once the object of desire, might find himself relegated to the friend zone. He may be left yearning for the intimacy that was once an integral part of his relationship. And yet, he is still expected to fulfill his roles and responsibilities as a husband. This situation can lead to a deep sense of dissatisfaction and resentment. The husband might feel neglected and unappreciated, while the wife might feel trapped in a routine devoid of passion and excitement. It's a vicious cycle that can be hard to break. So, if intimacy is being compromised, what fills the void in these marriages? As we delve deeper into this subject in the next scenes, we'll explore the expectations and obligations that come into play, the double standards that exist, and the potential ways forward. Despite a decrease in intimacy, expectations from husbands remain high. How does this impact the dynamics of a marriage? As the flame of intimacy dwindles in many modern marriages, it seems like there's an unwritten rule that husbands should continue to fulfill their roles and responsibilities. From providing financial stability to taking care of household chores, the list goes on. But here's the question: is this fair? In the initial stages of the relationship, intimacy plays a significant role. It's the glue that holds everything together. But as time passes and priorities shift, many wives seem to use intimacy as a tool, rather than a way to express love and affection. And when that tool is no longer needed, it's often put away, gathering dust in a forgotten corner. Yet the expectations on husbands don't change. They are still expected to provide, to protect, to be the rock in the storm. The provider role, while noble, can become a heavy burden, especially when the emotional and physical needs of the husband are overlooked. This dynamic can lead to resentment and dissatisfaction. The lack of intimacy can leave husbands feeling unloved, unappreciated, and undervalued. The situation can be likened to a one-sided seesaw. On one side, the wife's needs are met, her expectations fulfilled. But on the other side, the husband's needs are left hanging in the air, unmet and unacknowledged. This isn't to say that all wives are guilty of this, or that all husbands are victims. Each relationship is unique, with its own nuances. However, it's crucial to acknowledge that this is a prevalent issue in many modern marriages. The lack of intimacy, coupled with high expectations, can create a breeding ground for unhappiness and dissatisfaction. But the key to resolving this issue lies in understanding, communication, and compromise. But what about the husband's needs? Are they being overlooked? In an era of equality, are double standards still prevailing in marriages? It's a question that's been asked time and again, and it's one that we need to address. Now let's delve into this very issue, the one of double standards. Imagine a scenario where a wife gets upset when she catches her husband watching porn. This, in itself, is not an unusual reaction. But let's flip the scenario around. What if the husband is turning to porn because his sexual needs are not being met within the confines of his marriage? Suddenly the equation changes. In this context, the wife's anger seems unjustified, doesn't it? If she's not fulfilling her husband's needs but expects him to refrain from seeking sexual satisfaction elsewhere, isn't that a double standard? It's a situation that's all too common in modern marriages, yet it's one that is rarely talked about openly. This kind of dynamic can lead to a lot of resentment and frustration in the relationship. And let's not forget the impact it can have on a person's self-esteem. When a partner is consistently denied intimacy, it can lead to feelings of rejection and inadequacy. It's a situation that can seriously damage the relationship in the long run, but why does this happen? One reason could be that after achieving their goals of marriage and motherhood, some women might feel they no longer need to invest in the sexual aspect of their relationship. This lack of effort, however, can leave their husbands feeling neglected and unappreciated. The issue here is not about sex, but about the lack of respect and consideration for a partner's needs. It's about the imbalance of power and the unfair expectations placed on one party. It's about a lack of empathy and understanding, and it's about the persistence of double standards in an era where we are striving for equality. The question we need to ask ourselves is not whether this is happening, but why it's happening, and more importantly, what can be done to change it. So, are these marriages sustainable with such dynamics? That's a question only time, and our collective efforts towards equality and understanding, can answer. With these challenges, how can modern marriages navigate towards healthier dynamics, I hear you ask? Well, let's dive into that. The first step towards healthier dynamics in modern marriages is open communication. This doesn't mean just talking about the mundane day-to-day activities, but about the deeper issues, the unspoken expectations, and the hidden desires. It's about opening up to your partner about your needs, and also being receptive to theirs. It's about creating a safe space where both parties can express their feelings without fear of judgment or retaliation. Secondly, understanding is key. It's about recognizing that your partner is not just a provider or a caregiver, but a human being with their own needs and desires. It's about understanding that marriage is not a transaction but a partnership. It's about realizing that intimacy is not just about sex, but about emotional connection and shared experiences. Thirdly, mutual respect is a cornerstone of any successful marriage. This means respecting your partner's boundaries, valuing their opinions, and appreciating their efforts. It's about treating your partner with the same kindness, consideration, and respect that you would like to receive. It's about recognizing your partner's worth and expressing your appreciation regularly. Now, these solutions may sound simple in theory, but they require a lot of effort and commitment in practice. It's about breaking old patterns, challenging societal norms, and pushing through discomfort. It's about prioritizing your partner and your marriage over societal expectations and personal desires. It's about choosing love, understanding, and respect over ego, pride, and prejudice. Remember, a successful marriage is not about finding the perfect person, but learning to love an imperfect person perfectly. It's about accepting your partner's flaws and appreciating their strengths. It's about choosing to see the best in your partner, even when they are at their worst. It's about sticking together through the ups and downs, the twists and turns, the highs and lows, because at the end of the day, that's what marriage is all about. Please don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe with bell notifications, and share this video.